Welcome to my channel, Matt Legends Documentary.
Edge, the ultimate opportunist. The kid with a dream. Before the world knew him as Edge, he was Adam Joseph Copeland, born on October 30th, 1973, in Orangeville, Ontario, Canada. As a kid, Adam loved professional wrestling. He dreamed of one day becoming a wrestler. But there was a problem. His family didn't have much money. Still, Adam refused to let that stop him. He watched wrestling, studied his favorite performers, and imagined himself standing inside a packed arena. That childhood dream would eventually become reality. The long road to WWE. Adam began training as a professional wrestler in the 1990s. The early years weren't glamorous. He wrestled in small, independent promotions, performed in front of modest crowds, and worked hard to improve his skills. He eventually formed a close friendship with another young wrestler, Christian. The two shared the same dream: make it to the top of professional wrestling. Their partnership would eventually change tag team wrestling forever. Edge arrives in WWE. In 1997, Edge made his WWE debut. He was introduced as a mysterious, intense young wrestler with long hair and an aggressive attitude. At first, fans didn't know what to make of him, but Edge had something special. He could wrestle, he could tell a story in the ring, and most importantly, he was willing to take risks. Soon, WWE fans realized they were watching someone who could become a star. Edge and Christian Edge's partnership with Christian became one of the most important parts of his early career. The two became one of WWE's greatest tag teams. They competed in legendary ladder matches alongside teams such as the Hardy Boys and the Dudley Boys. These matches were dangerous, chaotic, and unforgettable. The risks they took helped transform ladder matches into one of WWE's most popular match types. Eventually, Edge and Christian became multiple-time tag team champions. But Edge wanted more. He wanted to become a single star. The ultimate opportunist, Edge's biggest transformation came when he became known as the ultimate opportunist. The nickname fit him perfectly. Edge understood that in wrestling, opportunity can appear at any moment. And when it did, he attacked. He won the first Money in the Bank ladder match at WrestleMania 21 in 2005. The prize was a contract guaranteeing him a world championship match whenever he chose to cash it in. Edge waited. He watched. He waited for the perfect moment. Then opportunity arrived. The first cash-in. At New Year's Revolution 2006, John Cena had just survived a brutal elimination chamber match. Cena was exhausted. He had barely recovered from the battle. Then Edge's music hit. The ultimate opportunist was cashing in. Edge attacked Cena and defeated him for the WWE Championship. The wrestling world exploded. Edge had officially become a world champion. The man who had spent years fighting for recognition had finally reached the top. The rated R superstar Edge evolved again. He became the rated R superstar. He was no longer simply the talented young wrestler from Canada. He was dangerous, manipulative, confident, and willing to do whatever it took to win. His rivalries with stars such as John Cena, Matt Hardy, Randy Orton, and The Undertaker became major WWE storylines. Edge became one of the company's most hated villains and one of its biggest stars. The Undertaker rivalry. One of Edge's most important rivalries was with The Undertaker. The two competed for world championships and clashed in brutal matches. Their feud showed just how far Edge had come. He wasn't simply trying to survive against legends anymore. He was becoming a legend himself. The shock that changed everything. After years of success, Edge's career suddenly came crashing down. In 2011, doctors discovered that he had serious damage to his neck. Continuing to wrestle could have caused permanent paralysis, or even worse consequences. Edge had no choice. He had to retire. At WrestleMania 27, Edge defended the World Heavyweight Championship against Alberto Del Rio. He won. Then came the emotional announcement. Edge had to surrender the championship and retire from professional wrestling. He was only 37 years old. His career was over. Or so everyone thought. 9 years of waiting for nearly a decade, Edge stayed away from professional wrestling. He focused on his family, acting, and life outside the ring. But the dream never completely disappeared. He continued training. He continued staying in shape. And deep inside, he wondered whether he could wrestle again. Then, in 2020, the impossible happened. The new Edge. His comeback wasn't simply about nostalgia. Edge returned as a veteran who wanted to prove he could still compete at the highest level. He entered major rivalries with stars such as Randy Orton, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, and AJ Styles. His feud with Randy Orton became especially personal. Their rivalry produced brutal matches and emotional moments. Edge wasn't the same young superstar anymore. He was older, more experienced, but he was still dangerous. Winning again. In 2021, Edge challenged Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship at WrestleMania 37. Although he didn't win, simply reaching the WrestleMania main event again was remarkable. A wrestler who had been forced to retire nearly 10 years earlier was once again competing in the biggest matches of his career. Later, Edge also became a world champion again when he captured the WWE Championship in 2006, and throughout his career accumulated 11 world championship reigns across WWE. His comeback proved that retirement didn't have to be the end of his story. The Judgment Day Edge eventually became involved with a new faction called the Judgment Day. But once again, his story changed. He was betrayed by the group he had helped create. Edge fought back and continued competing against younger stars. It was another example of his ability to reinvent himself. The final WWE chapter. Edge's second WWE run eventually came to an end. In 2023, he wrestled what would become his final WWE match against Sheamus in Toronto. The location was special. Canada was home. The fans were his people. After decades of sacrifice, Edge had returned to where his journey began. Soon afterward, he joined AEW, where he performed under his real name, Adam Copeland. The legacy Edge's career is remarkable because it contains almost everything a wrestling story could have. He was a dreamer, a tag team champion, a villain, a world champion, the ultimate opportunist, a man forced into retirement. And then, a comeback story. He won 11 world championships, became a WWE Hall of Famer, and helped redefine tag team wrestling through his work with Christian and other legendary performers. But his greatest achievement may be something much simpler. He refused to let the story end when doctors told him it had to. He walked away when his health demanded it. Then, years later, he fought his way back. From a kid watching wrestling in Canada, to one of WWE's biggest stars, to a heartbreaking retirement, to an unbelievable return nearly 9 years later. Edge proved that sometimes the greatest victory isn't winning a championship. Sometimes it's getting another chance to do what you love.